I'm Mr. MegaManFan. This is the PC Engine Files, and today we are looking at Detana TwinBee, also known as Here Comes TwinBee, or if you live in Europe, it was known as Bells and Whistles in arcades. And if you lived in the United States, you didn't know it as anything at all because it didn't come out here. This is the fifth game in the TwinBee franchise overall, but only the second one that came to arcades. The rest were home console exclusives. Now, there's an interesting tidbit that's in the Wikipedia entry for Detana TwinBee that I can't actually confirm from the credits of this game. But according to Wikipedia, if you believe them, Koji Igarashi, the legendary Castlevania producer and director, worked on the enemy programming for this game. Why they didn't include him in the credits is beyond me, but if Wikipedia is right, this was one of the earliest things that he worked on while at Konami. And a lot of ports of this arcade game came out. First, the Sharp X68000, then PC Engine, which we're looking at here. Later, it was part of the Deluxe Pack for Sega Saturn and PlayStation, and the PlayStation version got re-released twice, first in 1997 under the Best for Family line, and then 2003 under the PS1 Books line. So it's going to be quite available if you live in Japan. A lot of different versions of it there. Less so outside of Japan. The first that it might have been available to anybody in this country was Wii's Virtual Console in North America, March 23rd, 2009. Thankfully, in the much more recent past, it has come out on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 under the Hamster Corporation's Arcade Archive series. Those games usually run like $7.99 unless they're on sale, so if you like what you see here, you could always buy the arcade version and play that and have yourself a good time. Or you could track down the PC Engine version. And what, pray tell, does that go for right now? Well, let's do a live search as I'm doing the voiceover and find out. Detana TwinBee PC Engine, and we will sort from lowest to highest price. Let's see what we get. Price plus shipping lowest first, $26 for a loose hue card, $51 with free shipping for a complete copy, $34 with $20 shipping, $45 with $15 shipping. So it looks like if you want a complete copy, you're probably going to pay between $50 and $60. Is it worth that? Well, I guess that depends on if you're a TwinBee fan. I like this series of shooters, and I always have, and this is a very fun installment in the series. But let me tell you a little bit more about it, thanks to the TwinBee wiki on fandom.com, which is quite extensive, and it's very helpful to have somebody that summarizes the plot if I'm just playing this without having the complete in-box copy, or being able to read Japanese for that matter. Set several years after the first game, being the first arcade game and the first one that was ported to Famicom, among other places, TwinBee features Light and Pastel, relaxing on an island when they get an SOS from the planet of Mel. The signal contains a message from Princess Melora, who begs for them to save her planet from the invading forces of an evil alien called Iva. So TwinBee and his friends set off to outer space to defeat the forces of Iva and save planet Mel. Now, in this game, it's not just Light and Pastel who are piloting TwinBee and WinBee, player 1 and player 2 respectively. There's also a mysterious GwinBee that will appear. I don't know if it's quite random, but I only find GwinBee when I die. And as you can see from the footage here, GwinBee can be paired up with WinBee or TwinBee and act as a bonus shot. It's kind of like capturing a ship in Galaga and then retaking it back from the ship that captured it and getting a dual shooter. So you're upgrading your ship by combining TwinBee or WinBee with GwinBee. And if you're two-player and you put GwinBee between TwinBee and WinBee, you get a supercharged shot that clears all of the enemies on the screen. So co-op play can help you get a long way in this game. But the first level, at least, I was able to do it without a second player, and even without TwinBee a lot of the time, because you can hold down your fire button for a charged up shot, and then you can unleash it into whatever is coming at you, which you will see me do in this boss fight, even though I do have TwinBee here. But other times when I've played it, I have not had TwinBee, and it has been equally helpful to power up the shot. You just hold down your button until the meter gets to flashing, and then your charge shot is ready. And the charge shot is quite devastating. In fact, it's so powerful, it might make you mistakenly believe that Detana TwinBee is an easy game, but it gets much, much harder the further you go. The enemies get more and more relentless in their waves of attacks. There are more enemies on the ground, and you should switch back and forth between the 1 and the 2 button to do your regular shots and your bomb shots, because you can only take out the enemies on the ground with your bombs. It'll give you a targeting crosshair, and it'll generally aim in the direction that they are if you're even somewhat close when you hit the bomb. But if you're not paying attention, the ground enemies can take you out just as fast as the enemies on the top of the screen. So don't just ignore the ground enemies and shoot whatever's directly in front of you. Do so at your own peril. You should also want to collect the power-ups and bonus points that the ground enemies sometimes drop. You also get bonus points for taking out a whole wave of enemies. That gives you extra points. And of course, like previous TwinBee games, there is the juggling mechanic. And by that I mean, if you shoot at a cloud, a bell comes out. And if you juggle the bell by shooting it repeatedly, it changes color, and the colors represent different power-ups you can collect, like the shield that's currently around me, or shadow ships that are like the options from Gradius games, where you get extra firepower from the options following you, or you can increase your speed or decrease your speed by collecting certain colors. It goes in this order. The standard yellow bell gives bonus points, and if you collect multiple ones in a row, the bonus increases from 500 to 1,000 to 2,500 to 5,000 to 10,000 at the maximum. White gives you a double shot. Blue increases your speed. Black decreases your speed. Green gives you a mirror image for extra firepower. Red gives you a shield. And the purple gives you 3 tall shields that trace you and destroy aerial enemies or enemy bullets when they contact them. So that's your triple option, I guess. And I would say juggle those as much as you can for the bonus points and for the power-ups, because that is the key to winning at TwinBee in any of the games in this series. Well, except for like side-scrolling platforming games, but that's a little bit later down the line in the TwinBee legacy on Super Famicom. It's remarkable to me that games that are this accessible and easy to understand even without knowing Japanese were largely left alone for North America and Western audiences. I can only think that's because this falls into the cute-em-up genre, as they call it, and they thought it would just be too cute for hardcore North American United States Western gamers. It's not. The TwinBee series is awesome. They're some of the best shooters you can possibly play, and Detana TwinBee is no exception. Now, obviously, I need to work on my juggling skills, and I also need to work on memorizing the enemy patterns, because this is not the best playthrough of Detana TwinBee you will see. I did pretty good in the first stage, and I'm gonna fail miserably here in the second stage in a moment. But there are only so many stages in Detana TwinBee, and when you clear them all, it loops back around, except it gets a little harder. And when you complete the second loop, the game is over, although you can enter another credit and start again, as they say in the arcade version, or you can just play it again on the home console version, such as this. So bottom line for me is that out of all the games that I've played thus far, over 90 of them on the PC Engine files, Detana TwinBee would be easily in my top 10 of among the best that you can possibly play. There are so many good games that I can't possibly rank it number one, but it does meet that perfect amount of it's expensive but not stupidly expensive, and it's fun but it's not stupidly easy nor stupidly hard. It's kind of the best of all worlds when it comes to PC Engine, so keep an eye out for Detana TwinBee, or at least try it in emulation first. It's also available as a PlayStation Portable Pack, and it also got converted to Xbox 360 Game Pass, but that's probably now defunct. But there are a lot of different versions of it out there.